Alright, so we're going to add 10 porthole flagtail catfish to the 230 gallon here. I know you guys haven't really seen much about this yet since my wife had it, but we're re-hauling it and redoing it all. So today we're just adding fish, and I thought, you know what, it's time to show the public. So here we go. Alright, so no doubt stressed out, but you know, they're going to come around, get warm, get fed up, and it was time for them to come out of the fish room. They've been waiting to come in here for a long time, but we've been waiting for plants to spread, and I tried using Fluval stratum to only supply these dwarf chain swords, but it's not enough nutrients, at least for me. Like, the bigger ones are melting back to supply the new ones in the chain. This is about 2 months worth of growth, I think, at this point, starting from a few pots. And so now I'm putting Easy Green in, and they've greened up quite a bit. So so far in my testing, I don't know, I've heard some people say like, oh, you could just use that with root feeders. I don't know, for me, it's not working that way. I don't have any CO2 hooked up, or that's not true, it's hooked up, but I don't have any CO2 in the tank, so I'm going to get that refilled, see if I can't get this to spread faster. But we've got spider wood in the tank, and there's still algae and stuff like that left. There's a pair of albino crebensis and a bunch of the silver tip tetras, a few little reticulated hillstream loaches, and a handful of amano shrimp in there. They were just in there to eat the fungus that starts growing on the wood. And so now you guys can basically see how we got to this point, because we did a bunch of filming, but it wasn't worth its own video, so we're going to montage a bunch of footage together, and you'll see how we got to this point. Alright, well, I finally decided to do something with this tank. It turned into just a giant algae mess. We removed some of the fish, that type of thing has been neglected, don't know what I want to do with it, and it's all from the house remodel is why. So now I want to demonstrate my biggest demotivational factor was all this green spot algae. Green spot algae on acrylic is just like my most hated thing to get rid of. So this mighty magnet here I bought for the 800 gallon. It totally solved that problem. They make little spacers that I can put in here so it'll work on this thinner acrylic as well. So now I can kind of just go back and forth, and it's going to clean it up for me. And this is like reinvigorating, making me want to play with it, or do something with it. Because this, you can see it's kind of coming right off. And this is months and months of buildup, and you would almost think like, how could you possibly live with this? It was easier just to go out in the garage and play with all my other tanks than it was to address this. But I've brought all the equipment home. One, I hate the filtration system on here. The E-Heim that has the dual intakes and output is just terrible for what I like to do. And then there's a bunch of fish in here that I didn't really choose, so to speak, and I want to get those out. And then I want to do something with it. I don't know what it is yet, but I do know kind of resetting and getting it cleaned up is the goal. So that's what I'm going to start with now, just catching fish out, water changing, cleaning glass, so to speak, and see where I can go from there. And if you've been following even on the live stream stuff, you know where this glass Maboo puffer came from. So, yeah, exactly, from Jimmy. And so yeah, enjoy. And we're gonna do a bunch of cool stuff with this tank, but this is the ground level at this point. And this is an Apontigeton from way back in the old tank. It was buried in the substrate and sprouted out. So if it gets a little bigger, maybe we'll rehome it to another part of the tank. And I dialed down the lighting a little bit. It was 2 Fluval 2.0. 4-footers plus 2 2-footers. I downgraded the 2-footers down to Stingrays, and I think that's going to help with algae control a little bit. I had too much light, and the tank itself is almost 7 feet long and 32 inches front to back, and so that's where we were running into problems lighting it, because you can see this is a 24-inch fixture here, but clearly from front to back still has room on both. And big tank, a lot of fish are going to go in here. We're trying to keep it as low maintenance as possible. Now, I'm not going to say no maintenance, but water change every few months, that type of thing, that would be the goal. And so right now, very moderately stocked, and the more we start feeding, the more the plants will start growing, and it'll kind of just do this turn of events, hopefully, and the amount of shrimp I'll finish cleaning up the not beard algae, but hair algae that are on the gravel. That was from the old tank. I didn't get it all out because I knew I wanted in there to kind of jumpstart life. So hopefully we get the cribs breeding and all that kind of stuff.